Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Kashelle and every week I attempt so hard to tell you about a true crime case that I've been researching this week. I hope everyone has had a fabulous week and is over the frustration from last week's billboard case. I'm afraid I never come with anything kind of less frustrating. It's always frustrating in different ways. So today, as promised for the past however many weeks, I will be doing the corn rake murder. I did have a choice of 3 and I thought I've teased it too many times now. You just need to do the corn rake murder. It's not that I didn't want to do it. I'm now at the point I've got too much choice. So I chose to want to do other things. That didn't flow as a sentence. Also, before anyone thinks I am sporty and support any form of football team, this is not a football top. It is a football top, but it's a Doctor Who football top. So, and it's fucking sick. It's literally the coolest thing ever. You won't be able to see, but these things, they are sonic screwdrivers. There's an angel on it somewhere. There's an angel. I think the angel's on the back, so I can't even show you that. And it says Dr. 10 on the back because I am a massive nerd. So yeah, I don't have any more housekeeping at the moment. Not that I can think of. No, not that I can think of. I never say this, but if you can like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. So I'll just add that in now because I never say that. And I'm pretty sure you're supposed to say it on like every video and I just don't. So I don't think I have any trigger warnings for today. Content warning, as always, strong language. Today we're going to be discussing the case of Amy Mullis, which is more commonly known as the corn rake murder. A devoted mother, a quiet farm, and a brutal killing in plain sight. When 39-year-old Amy Mullis was found impaled by a corn rake, it seemed like a terrible accident, until investigators looked a little bit harder and uncovered a twisted truth full of jealousy, betrayal, and a husband with everything to lose. This is the horrifying case of Amy Mullis, a murder that sent shockwaves through rural Iowa. Amy Lee Fullhart was born on the 3rd of November 1978 in Iowa. She was the kind of person that everyone described as really fun to be around. She was kind, loyal, bubbly, outgoing, and hardworking. In 2004, she married Todd Mullis, a local pig farmer. He was well known in the area for running this pig farm. He was known to be successful, although some neighbours would describe him as having a mean side and some even described him as quite scary. The couple lived on a 500-acre farm with their 3 children. Of course, as it always does, from the outside it seems like a perfect little family, but behind closed doors things are never as simple as they seem. Amy had recently suffered 2 miscarriages and she was really struggling emotionally, as anyone would be. She felt totally isolated on the farm because it was in the middle of fucking nowhere. She had very little freedom, and especially social freedom. She wasn't even allowed a phone without Todd checking through everything. But then came the affair. In 2018, Amy started seeing a man called Jerry Ferris. He was a local man who she had met through work. And it wasn't the first time that she had strayed from her marriage, but this time felt totally different. It felt different in the fact that she was finally making plans to leave Todd, and her friends were kind of trying to help her escape. And Todd found out. I'm not quite sure how he found out, but Todd found out. So we're going to go to the morning of the incident. November 10th, 2018, Amy and their 13-year-old son Tristan went out to one of the hog barns because they were preparing for a delivery of piglets. Amy was cleaning the lights in the barn, but she was kind of stood on a bucket, like balancing on a bucket in order to be able to reach to do this. And Tristan noted that she kept kind of holding her head. She didn't look very stable at all. Todd would later tell police that Amy kept complaining of feeling quite dizzy. She'd just had a form of procedure done and she was told to go home and rest. Amy insisted that she was absolutely fine and continued to work. But then Todd said that Amy said she needed to go and get the cat carrier for some kittens, and she needed to get these for another shed, and she was gone for around 30 minutes and she didn't come back. They said that the boys carried on working for around an hour and a half, and Todd eventually found the cat carrier and he saw that it hadn't been moved, so he just assumed that Amy didn't feel well and she'd gone in the house to lie down. At 12:45 p.m, 12:45 p.m, Todd told Tristan to go and get the cat carrier, and just a couple of minutes later he was screaming. You could hear screaming. Amy was found inside the shed, face down with her arms kind of spread like that, and she had been impaled by a corn rake. And a corn rake is, I will show a picture of it, but it's like a farm implement. Not many, I don't think generally people have them in their gardens. It's like a pitchfork. Tristan immediately ran over to his mum and checked if she had a pulse, and then ran for his dad. But the first red flag is when the corn rake was taken out of Amy's back, she had 6 puncture wounds. Now, I just showed you a picture of a corn rake. They've only got 4 prongs, so immediate problem with that. So Todd pulled the corn rake out of Amy's back, which you're probably not advised to do. If you are ever injured by anything, you will be told to leave whatever is in you. Do not take it out. So issue number 1. But he pulled it out and he carried Amy to the family's car because they're in the middle of arse end fucking nowhere, so they are not close to a hospital. Todd said that he had removed the corn rake because they were in a very small shed and he couldn't get her out without removing it. Now, I can't see a room, I just can't visualize that, and I've got quite a good imagination. I can't see anything being that small that you can't get them out without leaving it in. You know what I mean? I have the 911 call, I think, so I will play that now, but trigger warning.
County 911, what's the address of your emergency? Hello?
I'm on the road. I'm out of breath.
Okay. What's going on, sir?
My wife, she's not responsive. I don't know if she's sick. I don't know. She was halfway out the door. I sent my son over to check on her. She yelled at me, and she looks gone.
Okay. We'll get an ambulance for in just a second.
I'm headed there. I grabbed her and threw her in the truck when my son pulled me.
Okay, you're headed to the hospital and she's in your vehicle?
Yes, and there's no pulse.
There's no pulse. Can you pull over?
I can.
Okay, how about you pull over?
Can I do anything? There's nothing.
Okay, what is your name, sir?
Todd Mullis. You feel anything? Amy.
Okay, sir, what happened that she's not conscious or breathing?
She fell on a fork. I put a goddamn fork on her. It was an old fork sitting in somewhere, and then she was halfway out of the barn. Like, she was calling to get out, and then Tristan yelled, and I ran over there, and she's laying there. She is not responding.
Okay.
Come on.
Sir, do you feel comfortable doing CPR?
I can try. I'll try anything.
Is she flat on the, are you able to get her flat across maybe the seat?
Yep. 1, 2.
Go on.
Come on, respond. She's cold. Come on.
So immediately the medical experts also started kind of calling bullshit. They were like, what? What do you mean? Of course, we hear the call and he's told to pull over and start giving her CPR. But he's saying she's cold, she's not moving, she's not responding, it's not helping. Paramedics do eventually arrive on scene and Amy is still alive, but she is barely hanging on. She was rushed to hospital, but she was pronounced dead very shortly after, and she was just 38 years old. The hospital was told that this was a freak accident. Farming is incredibly dangerous. I don't have any stats that I've told myself to write down, but apparently farming is very dangerous. I will get some stats up and I will put them next to my head or above my head. So farming is dangerous. So if there was 4 holes, you probably might have got away with it. Amy was obviously sent for an autopsy and they discovered the 6 holes, and also they were going in different directions, which is not consistent with falling on a corn rake at all. She also had other injuries. She had a small scrape on the inside of her lip. She had slight damage to her hands and her knees. So this could be argued that it is evidence of a struggle, or it could be argued that it's evidence of a fall. The pattern and the depth of the injuries that Amy had sustained suggested that someone was taking the rake in and out. It wasn't just a one-time thing, it was going in and out of her, which is a horrible image, I'm sorry. Also, I think this is so fascinating, by the way. They could also tell how the wounds were angled, so they could immediately tell that this was not consistent with falling on a corn rake, which is just, I think that's mind-blowing that you can do that. Now, again, I don't like to talk about behaviour, but I'm going to talk about behaviour because you never know how you're going to respond to something, but Todd wasn't responding the way you would expect someone to, so it was questioned and it was documented. So Todd didn't ask if Amy was okay, which... bizarre. He didn't check her pulse. He didn't ask if she was okay. He didn't appear emotional in any kind of way. He just didn't seem anything. He was just flat. And he just kept repeating that she fell on a corn rake. 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 And I don't think there's need to do that. Again, you don't know how you're going to respond in situations like this until you're in them, which I pray that no one ever is. But red flags. And the investigators thought there was also red flags. So within days, this was not an accident. This was an investigation. So there weren't any signs of a struggle in the shed that Amy was found in. And Tristan, the son, was the alibi. He said that his dad was with him the whole time. He didn't lose sight of him at any point. So there's just no way. And both of their stories stayed the same throughout. But obviously detectives like to do a little deep dive into your personal life and discover some shit. They like a motive. So they did some digging into Todd's personal life and things got ugly quickly. So it was revealed that Amy had 2 affairs throughout the course of her marriage to Todd, and the first one was about 5 years ago and it had obviously ended. And after this had ended, she'd quit her normal job and decided to work on the farm full time. This was also to work on their marriage and probably to like rebuild trust within the relationship, so they kind of knew where she was at all times and things like that, which is a toxic, I don't think that's healthy, but that's what they did to kind of fix their marriage and save their marriage. Amy had told her friends that she kind of had no choice in this, and it was kind of like, quit your job and come work for me so I know where you are at all times or it's over. So she didn't really want to go and work on the farm, but she knew that Todd didn't trust her anymore and this was her only choice. Amy's friends would later testify that Amy felt like a prisoner in her relationship and in her own home. Todd was very controlling. He had like an approved list for Amy of friends that she was allowed to see. And this is crazy, she would be timed when she would leave the house. So if she says, oh, I'm just popping to do the food shop, she would be timed on when she left and when she came back to make sure she didn't have time to go and see anyone or be having an affair. And we need therapy. This is what therapy's for, to help you through these things. That's not okay. But Todd didn't want Amy to leave the relationship, so they stayed. He clocked a change in Amy's behaviour at some point, and then his paranoia increased and he upped his slightly unhinged game. So he started to go through Amy's phone records and he clocked a number that Amy was texting regularly, and it was the number of Jerry. He actually counted the text and there were 128 in a month. So Todd don't give a shit. Todd called Jerry and has gone, what the fuck's this all about? And Jerry said, no, it's all about work, it's about our kids in the same football team and whatever else, like there's nothing more to it. So Todd didn't believe it, and then he actually calls Jerry's wife, which, fair enough. And it's all kind of brushed over. Everyone goes, no, it's not real, blah, blah, blah. So they are kind of gaslighting Todd because he is right. So Amy and Jerry were having an affair, and Amy was telling friends that she wanted to marry this man. She was like totally in love, and she was planning to leave Todd. She wanted out. She wanted a divorce, and that's where we now have a motive. After he discovered that Amy was having a new affair, of course, he was absolutely fucking livid. And he just became obsessed with the idea of her leaving him. He was not a happy bunny. When Todd was questioned by investigators about his marriage to Amy, he said, like, it's just like a normal marriage. We have ups, we have downs, but we have a generally good relationship. It's not unlike anyone else's marriage. But Amy's friends were probably the most telling. Amy had said to one of her friends, if anything happens to me, look at Todd. She'd also told Jerry if Todd ever finds out about our relationship, she would disappear. She'd also said to another friend that Todd would kill her if she found out that she was having an affair. So she was aware that this man was capable of killing her. And a lot of murderers like to Google shit. I know we rely on Google, but so Todd's cell phone was of course searched, and he had some interesting Google searches, including organs in the body and where they are. What happens to cheating women? Did ancient cultures kill adulterers? Thrill of the kill, killing unfaithful women, and 16 facts about cheating women. So it was clear he knew, and he was going down a slight rabbit hole on Google. He'd also then placed security cameras around the entire property. He claimed it was for safety purposes, but it was for control purposes. But of course, conveniently, the CCTV wasn't working when Amy was injured, killed, and Todd was questioned about this, and he said that the cats would often kind of knock it out of sync or turn it off. A family member had actually suggested to him, oh, maybe the cameras caught something, and that's when he then went to go check them and realised they weren't working conveniently. So when they were checked by police, they saw that there was a massive gap, so they conveniently started working again the next day, which in my opinion shows proof of premeditation. So in September 2019, Todd was arrested and charged with Amy's murder. The trial started, amazingly, in October 2019, and the prosecution quickly painted a very chilling picture. Todd was in fear of losing the farm. He knew if he got divorced, he would potentially lose the farm, and he was not willing to do that. He didn't want to lose the farm, he didn't want to lose his money, he didn't want to lose custody of his children. He was angry, he was controlling, he was calculated. And I think he partially killed Amy in a fit of rage, but to be killed in a fit of rage indicates that it's not planned, whereas I feel like this was. And I do feel like he staged it and thought about it enough to try and make it look like an accident. Amy's friends did take the stand. They argued that Amy had finally reached a breaking point with Todd, and Todd knew that he had crossed the line and she was done. She was over it. She wanted out. The defence team tried to claim that, of course, it was an accident, that Amy could have fallen, the punctures were explainable, and that Todd was a grieving husband who was being unfairly demonised. But the jury wasn't buying it. And most damning of all, his alibi fell apart. He, of course, always claimed that he never went into that shed, but his son changed his testimony and said that he did see his dad go into that shed just minutes before Amy was found dead. He said that his dad left him to go get a drink of water, but he wasn't exactly sure how long he was gone for. Todd did take the stand in his own trial, which I think is relatively rare. His story didn't change whilst he was being questioned and cross-examined. They, of course, brought up the Google searches. He denied knowing anything about them, having anything to do with them. I don't think he came across amazing on the stand. He came across quite cold. So this was one of the trials that was being broadcast, and I love that American trials are broadcast, and it was broadcast on Court TV, and one of the viewers, from listening to the 911 call, pointed something out that no one had listened to before. They'd listened to it, but they hadn't heard it. So I will play this and tell me what you think it says. Before I tell you what they think it says, tell me what you think it says. So I fear it's one of those things that, you know, like the blue and gold dress, which we need to do a case about because he tried to kill his wife. Just things like that where you don't know like 100% what's being said. Now to me, I don't know if it's because I'm making myself hear it, you know, it's just one of those things. So the person who called up said he is saying cheating whore under his breath. And I can hear it. Let me play it again. And they think it says, go to hell, cheating whore. Which I can hear it. I can hear it. So, I mean, just what a thing to say on a recorded line whilst you're trying to save your dying wife. Just, you know the calls are recorded. Come on. But the defence are saying he is saying so cold. So do you think he's saying go to hell, cheating whore, or he is saying so cold? I will play it one more time. October 25th, 2019, it has taken the jury just 2 days to reach a verdict. Todd Mullis was found guilty of first-degree murder and he was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Sorry, my brain just don't know what happened there. Amy's friends and family were, of course, heartbroken by the entire situation, but they were relieved to have received some form of justice. But her poor children now are without a mother and essentially without a father too. In 2022, Todd began appealing. He was claiming that there was interference with counsel and mishandled evidence. But so far, all appeals have been denied. And I think the facts of the case are that Amy knew she was in danger. She had said to several people that if I go missing, look at Todd. He's going to kill me. If he finds out, he's going to kill me. She had said it to at least 3 people, and that is, I think that's one of the most telling things. So that is the end of the corn rake murder for today. What do you think about it? I'd like to know what you think about what that call says. I'd like to know if you think it was an accident and Todd was unfairly demonised. I don't work in farming, so I don't know too much about accidents in farms, but I know farming's dangerous. I'm not that dim, I do know that, but you don't generally hear of people falling on corn rakes, and if you do, they tend to have 4 puncture wounds rather than 6. They're not going different ways. It's just I don't know, it's just one of them ones, isn't it? It can be hard. I think it's closed. I think it was Todd. I think he had motive, he had opportunity, and there's just too many things like the CCTV cutting out. It was, in my opinion, it was Todd, and obviously he's gone to prison for that, so yay. But yeah, if you have any opinions that differ to mine, please let me know. I would love to hear them. Oh, positive thought. Oh, okay, controversial positive thought. I got a new phone, and I have had an iPhone since I was like 13, and I'm 27 now, so I've had an iPhone for like ages. I can't do maths. I have changed. I have got a Galaxy, and I've got the flip thing, and I frigging love it, especially for this thing. I love this little screen. So much fun. Like, look at that. Who doesn't want that on the phone? 10 out of 10. Lizzie McGuire. I've got Pearl, another Scream one, and of course a Doctor Who one to go with my top. I really love it. I'm really happy with it, and I do not miss my iPhone at all. The only thing I will miss it for is kind of videos, because I send myself my outtakes, and it will make it slightly more difficult, but like nothing major. It's not going to ruin my life or anything. But yeah, that's my positive thought of the day. I got myself a new phone. But yeah, that's it from me today. Thank you so much for joining me. Make good choices. Please be careful who you marry. There is help out there if anyone's in a situation like that. I know it's much easier for me to just say it than anyone actually doing it, but I always try to leave links below if anyone needs them. But yeah, that's it from me. Make good choices, don't get murdered, have a fabulous week. Love you, bye.
I wish we had another place.
Now, bitch.
Tragedy was a destiny.
Ow. Please just stay how I want you to stay. Stay there. Jesus. Okay, enough of that. Murder that sent shockwave. Excuse me. November 10th. November 10th. Of course I didn't write that down. Why would I? How the entry told that Jerry would kill. No. Remember, it actually just... Not in his defence.